Shalom Akim. I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who teach and rule well, and salutation to all the Akim in all four corners of earth who's pushing this truth and sincerity. Shalom Akim. I want to get into this little article I found. When you sit back and think about it, it's not really too far-fetched, and it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a smack in your face, because this is something that we know. It ain't a leopard can't change his spots, so therefore Esau ain't gonna change no time soon. When the last few years you've been having a bunch of hangings in the South, and what has Esau been doing? Oh man, they're suicide attempts, they're suicide. So his attitude has changed, because when you think about the days in the past, Esau had no problem being prideful out there. When you was hung, he would have a whole picnic. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole family gathering. They took pictures, postcards, and they took parts of your body home for a memorial, But now, in 2026, they want to try to kind of hide it, They have different terms. The guy who was in Georgia rolled up in a gym mat with his body organs missing. Oh, that was suicide. Jake climbing up on trees with noose on them, coming down. Oh, that's a suicide. These are different tasks and different lies Esau's out here spreading amongst the people, But once again, like I said, nothing has changed from the past, man. Whether it be 1800 to 2000, where we're at now. Every now and then on my YouTube feed, I'll pull up, it'll show in the 80s. Because one thing about the Klan, we know the Klan from the 60s or whatever and before, but the 60s, they were hell. But a lot of people like to forget about the 80s, man. The 80s, the Klan was hell too, man. The Klan was hell. They had parades. Where I live on the north side of Chicago, they had a parade over here. The neo-Nazis did, So these parades, the Esau, these supremacy parades, is something that Esau does, man. And he does that to show you that you are still inferior to him, man, Let me read a little bit of this real fast. It says the Crimson Record study highlights patterns in suspected lynching cases, often ruled suicides in the South over the last 25 years. Just what I was saying, man. Over the last 25 years, these lynchings have been classified as suicides. So Esau's pride, because like I say, back in the day, he didn't mind gathering the good old boys up and meeting at the local maple tree and or magnolia tree and throwing that rope over it. They had no problem with that, man. And it's always the same corporate, the same few states in the South: Texas, Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. And that's crazy, because I'm gonna even throw in. They didn't even throw in none of the southern states on the East Coast. Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina. These places Jake was being hung at too. But we're gonna deal with these 7 that they put down here. Because I've seen reports. That these 7 states down here in the southeast and the west, because Texas is in the west. And Mississippi considered the west too. Those states. Those Texas, Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, Florida, Tennessee, and Alabama, Mississippi, they used to have races to see who hung more Negroes per year, recorded hangings. And, because hanging has to be, you can't just see a Negro and go out and hang. You can literally, but you got to put a charge on them. Like, oh man, he looked at my daughter too long. Let's go get him. Those type of charges. But yeah, Esau, right now he's being brought to the forefront for his crimes and things of that nature, and he just can't hide from it, man. But the evidence is out there. Even though you try to put it on, suicide or this or that, man. Come on, man. This is Isaiah 42, and I'm gonna start at 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prisons' houses. They are for a prey, and none deliver for a spoil, and none saith, Restore it. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for this for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil, and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire around about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart, man. So basically, once again, the Lord is asking, man, Israel, our people have went off. And so Esau is basically our whooping stick. This is our punishment, man, So yes, he can hang us from trees and get away with it, and claim that it was a suicide when the dude who did it was right down the way. But they ain't gonna go get him, because this is not our arrest, man. This is our punishment. So Esau, in our punishment, he's not gonna go abide by the law in our punishment, in our weak state. Why would he do that? We did not. We took on other heathen customs, and now the Lord is punishing us for these. He puts us all through the scriptures, man. You stiff-necked. You won't hearken to me. You won't listen to me. You won't listen to my preachers. You won't listen to my prophets. They're telling you to come out of your wicked ways. Yeah. Esau, this is we're right now in revealing Esau. He's being bought to the he's being bought up on charges, man. Let me bring this out because he's trying to escape him, but he can't, man. He's not going to be able to, man, because the Lord's got this. This is the Lord's show, man, at the end of the day. Because if this was to continue on his way, of course he would escape, man. He would bring up all sorts of excuses why he did what he did. John 10:10, the thief cometh not but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy, man. And that was Esau's MO, man. When you think about the different places in the South, where Jake been hung at and all that stuff, man, and even the cities they try to bring up, because Esau, one thing about Esau, he wanted us to be separated from him. So we said, cool, we'll take our little piece of land over here and do what we got to do. And what happened was we built it up better than what he had it, and what he had was used to. And what does he do? He comes and burns it down, man. All it takes is him to say is one of his people got raped or touched over there, primarily his white woman, But yeah, man. John 10:10, man, that thief come not for steal, to kill, and to destroy. I come that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly, man. But once again, this is not our place of rest, man. This is why, Esau pretends like, even though it's 2026 right now, he thinks the 60s are a thing of the past. He thinks the 1800s are a thing of the past. No, the same spirits are around, same people are around, man. Reincarnate. And they're living out there, doing what they got to do, man. They were brought here for a reason, man. Just like we were brought here for a reason. For Esau to rule over us, for a short time. And the time is damn near up, man. So Esau gonna get what he is just due very soon, man. This is Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 35. 35, and I'm gonna start at 4. I will lay there. No, I'm gonna start at 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shedded the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time of their iniquity, had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Saith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So the thing is that, Esau was on our ass for some time, man, and the Lord is getting ready to turn them tables on him very soon, man. And these are things that we see, man, we have something called patience, we have faith, and we have faith that the Lord is going to do right, man. And what is doing right by the words in the scriptures, man. Everything he wrote in the scriptures is going to do, man. We will not be, this is it right here, man. This is our last captivity right here, man. This is the end of this, man. We are a royal people, man, and the Lord is gonna bring us back to that royal lineage that we have, man. You know, because right now we're just all over the place, man. 2/3 of our people are all over the place, and that's a large population of people. 2/3 is a large population, you know. But they're all over the place with their beliefs, with what they got going on. But guess what? Lord is gonna put them inward thoughts into them, and they're never gonna go off ever again, man. They're not gonna have a love for pig. They're not gonna have a love for their brothers' wives anymore, man. You know, all the wickedness is gonna be left right here in this wicked kingdom, man. This is Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him, man. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord, man. So once again, man, it's all about repenting and coming back to the Lord, man. Especially if you were an Israelite, man. You know? That's the name of the game, man. Everybody's not going to be saved, man. All of Israel won't be saved, man. So we're fishing for the hopeful elect, man. But at the same time, we have to let our people know who they are, man. And if they buck up, we have to let them know, man. You know, why you are acting like this, you know. The curses are on you, man, you know. But yeah, I was talking to a guy at work, and he was telling me about how, you know, Trump is the reason why all these, you know, people are going crazy and blame. Well, what happened was where I work at, played my old high school, and I work at a private school, and they it's Edomites, you know, and they went on the basketball court. The nigga woman was probably whooping on them, and she yelled a racial slur at them, and they had to clear. No, the girl and the team girl didn't let out the slur. It was somebody from the audience that let out the slur, so they let out a row of them out, you know, and you know. It's just not our rest, man. It's just not our rest, man. You know, you can't even go to a basketball game without being racially harassed. With that being said, this is edifying. Shalom, Akim.